We're keeping very close track on Randy Taylor, myself, and those of us who are involved in monitoring the chat rooms and message boards, much like we did following 9/11. And you had mentioned, of course, the infiltration by the Muslims into our military. Remember Fort Dix 6. Remember, as you said, Fort Hood and other locations. And, of course, that was labeled workplace violence. Now we're seeing these multitude of fires taking place that's turning the skies of San Francisco and other cities orange, this ominous orange or red. And you can just, you can see it looks pretty doggone creepy, but we're getting information, monitoring these message boards that Antifa has been responsible for arsons. And there was just a very brief on-camera interview. I think it was done by a citizen journalist who spoke to two Portland state troopers out in Portland who said the fires by I-5 definitely had it was by human origin. We're seeing this, and I think people have to really comprehend the fact that everything that we're seeing right now, we have to question, because the war that we're in is very much asymmetrical, and the Chinese especially are masters at the asymmetrical warfare. The terrorists, who many have been sent to train, and this is going to be fear porn, this is going to be conspiracy theory labeled, but many have been sent to train with Muslim terrorists and brought back. By many, I'm talking more than 100. Not necessarily in the thousands or tens of thousands, but enough to lead certain missions. So, Steve, everything that you've talked about is 100% accurate, and this is much bigger than people realize in terms of where this is going to take us. And as you said earlier, if we are not prepared now, what do you say to someone who's not prepared? What do you say to someone who is just kind of getting with things right now? It's difficult to have a conversation with that person.
Well, you and I will find that out. But what do I say to them? I say, first and foremost, you better suck it up. You better, and by sucking it up, I mean this, you better take mental stock of where you are. I say, go stand, and Doug, I'm not kidding. I guess you'd say, kindergarten exercise is go stand in front of your fridge, if you've got a side-by-side, open one, open the other. Then go to your pantry and see what in your pantry you can eat right now, or can you make bread with the flour you have? Do you have yeast? Can you do this? Can you do that? Go and stand in front of what you currently have.
Yeah.
And then seriously, then go, okay, what check the prices on some of that stuff. If you had a can of, and I love using Hawk stuff, chunky beef soup, Campbell's, and was $3 last year, now it's $5. You realize that that's the same can of soup, but it's costing you more, and your paycheck isn't rising by 50%. Most people's don't. And then I want you to go to your medicine cabinet, or what do you call it? Medicine drawer. I just call it my bathroom drawer, where everything goes in it. My wife's side, very neat and orderly. My side, the white tornado. I should take a picture because I think it would illustrate better with a picture. But actually, it's like my office, Doug. We've talked about this. I know where everything is, even though my office, people come in here and say, how come your office looks like that, Steve? I said, because I don't have anything called time. I said, I don't have the time. And I said, when it gets unbearable, I'll make the time. But Doug, I just posted on my headlines today, we got to start being concerned with hour by hour, because things are changing hour by hour. So I'm telling you, first of all, what do we say to people? We say, you'd better understand, if you've been to a grocery store that has less items on the shelf than you remember even a year ago, what happens when there are no items on the shelf?
Yeah.
Well, there's a grocery store down the road. Well, what happens when there is no grocery store down the road? You have to take away excuses in order to basically help someone see the error of their ignorance, the error of their argument, or the error of their apathy and indifference. One of the greatest answers to a question I think I ever got from the Lord is I said, Lord, why do people want those of us who are on talk radio in those days, shortwave radio, podcast, internet broadcast, whatever you want to call them, why do they want us to make their decisions, and then they get mad when they ask for our advice if it didn't turn out exactly the way they thought it was? He says, see, because they want someone to blame. My people need to quit looking for blame and own up to their own sin, get it under the blood, and seek me for the direction in their lives. Isn't that a good word?
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that too. People are looking for that. They don't want to accept their own responsibility for their own actions. They're looking for someone else to blame. And I think that says it all for everything. I think everything that we see. Yeah.
And what does God hold us for? Accountable for? Personal, not the other guy. Like, listen, as many critics as you and I have, and people that don't love us, they're not going to be there when we stand before Jesus as Christians, and we stand before the judgment seat of Christ to get, His blessing on our life in heaven for being faithful. No one's going to be there. It's kind of like the woman at the well, Jesus wrote, all of the sins of the leaders that wanted to stone the woman at the well. Chances are it was their cell phone numbers. I'm making this up. Doesn't Quayle know there were no cell phones? And I'm just using this as an example. When Jesus knelt down and started doing stuff in the sand, drawing whatever, he was just letting them know. See, he even was so gracious, he didn't come out and say, okay, you Pharisaical hypocrite, number 1 through number 30. You spent the night with her 3 weeks ago, and you were with her sister the other night. You. No, he didn't. He basically let them see that he knew what they were doing, and they had no moral standing, moral right to demand that Jesus basically take her out of the way. She's a sinner. Nope, not at all. And that's a great thing. So, Doug, here's the thing. I'm just perplexed, and I don't have answers to every question. By the way, I just sent you a bunch of questions, and for this briefing. But some of them are the same questions I keep, asking or answering over and over and over, and I'll do it the same. But, like, for instance, one of the hardest questions to answer is, where is the safest place in the world for me to be? My answer to that is wherever God wants you to be and confirms you are where He wants you. That's the answer.
Yeah.
I used to think I was going to go to South America. After being in Peru, guess what? I don't want to go to South America. Having lived in the Cayman Islands before they became, really cool, I thought I want to do that. I moved to Hawaii for, I think, 3 or 4 months. Living on the Big Island drove me nuts, okay? Had a motorcycle and a sports car. I could go out and drive. What good does it do to have a 150-mile-an-hour sports car and be, Hawaiian roads? Anybody ever seen Hawaiian roads? There's no place you can drive that fast, even ride your motorcycle that fast. So the point is that the ideal place is where God gives you His peace. Now, saying that, I would encourage everyone to get off of the coastal cities, both on East and West Coast. I would encourage anybody who's in Florida. Now, here's the thing. I'm not telling you to do it, but if you live there, you've got to get out of there. Those in Florida should head north into the mountains. Alabama, Georgia. And look, I used to think Tennessee would be a great place to run until I saw what's happening in Nashville, and that they have a mayor there that's equaled all the worst mayors in the United States, in my opinion. So we've got a crisis brewing. And at the end of the day, Doug, the safest place is, where are you in your heart with Jesus? Not where are you geographically, but where are you in your walk with Jesus? That's the most important point. By the way, if God wanted to get me out of Bozeman to, let's say, someplace cool like South Dakota because of the governor there, what an amazing woman.
Oh, yeah.
He could get me there. He could translate me there. I don't think that will happen right now because I can't say to anybody that go here, go there. I've told people, the parts of Idaho I would live in, there are parts of Idaho I wouldn't live in. I would never live in Boise, Idaho, ever, ever, ever. I wouldn't live in Idaho Falls. But I'd live in northern Idaho. I'd live in Sandpoint and Salmon.
Sure.
Again, it's just where is a growing season? Here's the thing I think that has to be really hammered home on this hour, Doug. When there is no selection, when there are no choices, you no longer even have a choice. The ability to choose has been taken from you. But right now, everybody listening to this broadcast has a choice to make. Choose ye this day who you're going to follow. If the Lord God of heaven be God, then follow him. If not, then follow whoever you want to follow. You want to follow your lust, follow your lust. You want to follow your dreams, follow your dreams. You want to follow your instinct, follow your instinct. But those things won't deliver you. God can deliver you and will deliver you, but it has to be an active faith.